Hey tankers, Bonsai Duck here. Today I'm going to give you, in my humble opinion, a review on the GSOR 1008 British TD. All right, as we all know, the GSOR 1008 came in from the Holiday Ops. You got it in the magical boxes, so I guess it was loot, along with some other tanks. But the GSOR, it grabbed my attention. Right, I like a hard-hitting TD. So let's do a little research on the background of it. Right. So if we look at the vehicle details, we'll see that the project for a tank destroyer with an oscillating turret in the early 1960s, developed within the British GSOR program to increase the defense and mobility characteristics of vehicles. The development was discontinued after preparation of a set of blueprints and the production of a dummy vehicle. Okay, sounds good. It's got 3 crew members, so but doesn't fit into the British TD line, right? Because I believe most of those are 4 crew members. But it does, it's got a turret. So the only other turret British TD is the Charioteer, and it's not even a good crew trainer for that because the Charioteer has 4 crew members. So really, it can't be used to train much of anything. If you want to train the 3, the driver, the gunner, and the loader, fine. But we're going to look at a comparison with all the other turreted TDs in my stable, and then we'll do some tanks GG, and we'll kind of go through the armor and stuff like that. So all these tanks have been configured with 100% crew, no perks, no equipment, no nothing outside of 100% crew. So they're base models, right? If we look at the average HP damage of the GSOR, it's a 320. That puts it at the lower end of all the turreted TDs that I have in my stable. Obviously, the SU 130 PM is a 520, whereas the Scorpion G is a 490, along with the RHM, which is a 490. And then we got the 390 Charioteer and the 400 T20 Prototype. Average penetration is a 226. Still on the lower end, all right. Obviously, the two anywhere from 243 to 248, at 268 with the Charioteer. Rate of fire is 4.79 rounds a minute, which puts it not almost at the bottom. I mean, again, the next thing is the SU 130, which is 4.6 rounds a minute. And then of course, we start moving up. So as you can see, it's not that great. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't hit as hard as, say, the SU 130 PM or even the Charioteer, right? Where this differs, obviously, is it's an autoloader, right? So at this rate, right out of the box, it's got a 44.05 full clip reload. That's 4 rounds in 44 seconds. Right, it's not the new auto reload where it keeps reloading, or the same as the Italian heavies and stuff like that. This is 4 shots, just like the French autoloader. It's got a 2-second enter clip, so between every shell inside the clip, 2 seconds and 4 rounds. Gun depression is where this thing excels. All right, it's got -11. Now that is nice. Whereas the next best thing would be the Charioteer and the T28, who both have -10. Right, so this is really good for creeping up over a hill and popping off the shots. Aim time is a 2.21, which is right around in the middle. Not necessarily the most, but not the least. Right. As compared to the other tanks. Average damage per minute is a 1534, whereas you can see the SU is a 2,393. You got 2,400 for the Charioteer, 2,410 for the Scorpion. We bring in the RHM, that's at 2,600, and then of course the T28, bringing up at 2,400. So hull armor, it's got better hull armor than some of them. Obviously not as good as the T28 Prototype, but compared to the rest, it's a lot stronger, a lot more durable. Mobility, let's see, top speed is 60. All right, so that puts it roughly somewhere around the top 3. All right. As far as concealment, stationary, we got a 17. Moving, it's 10. Okay. So that's not bad compared to other tanks, you know. And considering that this isn't the epitome of a bush sniper, say, is like the SU-130 PM or the RHM, or maybe even the Scorpion. It can be used a little more as an attack vehicle. But it does, you know, with a good crew and the right skills and then camouflage, you can bring that up to where it could be a fairly good bush sniper. Spotting view range, we have a 370, so that puts us towards the top. Whereas, you know, the T20 Prototype is at 380, but that thing sits up so dang high, it's hard to, you know, it practically can see over buildings. So let's take a quick look at the Tanks GG. All right, so on Tanks GG, we got, like I said, it's got a DPM of 1005.88 DPM. Average damage is a 320. All right, and the soft stats, or the stats here, are going to pretty much reflect what we saw in the comparison model. You know, we've got, I mean, effective traverse at 2.6. Dispersion on this thing, let's see, where it is, a 0.34. All right, moving it's 0.3. During the tank traverse, it's 0.3. Turret traverse, it's 0.08. Okay, after firing Super Bloom 3.50. All right, armor wise, yeah, we're not, I mean, we've got some nice bouncy areas here if it's a straight on shot, but we've got a lot of holes to fill right here, right? But like I said, this thing makes its money in this let me see if I can get this traverse down here, or in this depression down here. This is where this puppy makes its money, right? Is in this gun depression, right? So if you're even poking over hills, you're still leaving your spots open, okay? So that's something to be aware of. But if you can pop over the hill, fire up the shots in a, you know, behind a bush, or on targets that are being engaged by other tanks, so that they're not mainly looking for you, you can do some serious damage without exposing a lot of your tank. And this turret, for being as small as it is, can give you some pretty good well, you have to visualize it. Can, you know, give you some pretty good advantages. I mean, that's a small turret, especially from a distance. That's going to be a hard target to hit. All right. So, like I said, we're going to go back into some videos that I have, thanks to Nonamanadus, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Honestly, I think this is a fairly fun TD to play. I'm just going to say that from the get-go. So, all right, let's get into the videos. All right, so here we are. We have Nonamanadus being our tanker in this battle, and he's on live oaks in a pure tier 8 game. All right, standard battle. He's spawned over on the northeast side. And as you can see at this point, he's got roughly a 41.75 reload, okay? And this is one of his earlier games, and so we're going to start this off and let Nona take it from here. So, as we can see, the tank is not the speediest, obviously. I mean, it's supposed to have some pretty good speed, but it takes a while to get going. Once it gets moving, it gets moving at a pretty good clip. So I mean, it's a fairly decent tank. But Nona's moving over. He's taking over the railroad side, and you know, what you're going to see in this is this video is going to show us a lot about the reload, okay, but his ability to use it in the hill creeping way that this TD really is useful for. So, all right, so Nona's moved over here. He's got quite a few people going with him. Another GSOR, an IS-3, Basante, and I can't tell what that other one is. And he's going to come up here and get into the bush and start using his gun depression. T-44 is moving in. There's the GSOR, and get a critical on that one, which wasn't very helpful. Nona does get spotted. There's a guard over there. He's able to come up here. Misses that shot. And this tank, with its reload, especially when you're first starting to drive it, if you don't have a really good crew in it, those misses can come back to punish you. And there's a penetrating armor, not penetrating. Finally gets a shot into the Tiger II. Alright. As we can see with the AP round, we get a 226 penetration. We fire the gold, it's a 321. Now, I will be honest, I do use the gold in mine quite a bit. What he's back here getting his reload, and as long as you have tanks in front of you that are willing, that can stand in and fight and give you the time to get your reload, you're going to be able to help out your team quite a bit in a situation like this. If his team started melting right away, Nona would be in a serious world of hurt. T-44 is just yellowing, and these guys are down on the hill, and so Nona can't be that useful to him because his team hasn't fallen back, right, to allow them to come over the hill where he can actually be helpful to him. It's a nice little look at the Basante here, and is able to get a penetration shot on him. There's another one right into the soft spot of the Basante. He's got gold set up for his next reload. Not a good shot on the guard. Spots in a mill. Way back there. And it does have very good view range. I mean, it is a TD in that aspect, right? And a mill 1 comes in and just changes the tide of the battle here, because with his autoloader, he's able to do some serious work. There's another hit into him, and Nona's now going for the gold. Right? We managed to get 8 shots off, roughly, I believe. Maybe 12 at this time. Alright. And, you know, you're not racking up the damage a lot. But he's able to use this hill in a very good way. Very useful. And again, as long as his team can hold where they're at, alright, then he can be very helpful to him. If he could get his team to fall back and allow those guys to come up on the hill, Nona could be very useful to him. And see the heavies are battling over there in the city. Nona's being very patient. Oh, didn't penetrate that time. Does get him spotted. Alright, if that ML will be happy enough to come around. Oh, right into the front of it. There's a tracking shot and he's down. Okay, so during the down times, it puts a nice shot right into that Centurion 5-1. During the down times on this tank, you've got to be able to manage your reloads. This is also a TD that you've got to plan your escape, because like I said, it's not fast. Alright, so you're not going to get anywhere quick on it. If you've got to bug out, you need to be ready to do it. Alright, so now we got T20 Prototype. Along with the Centurion 5-1. Another GSOR. Oh, that guy just moved in, took out the Basante. There's one into the GSOR. There's 2 into. Gets a shot from a bulldog who's behind him. Oh, just missed him. Takes a shot from a T-30. No. There's no T-32. Not sure where I saw T-32 on there somewhere, but Nona's on his way back. He's pushing back while he's in the reload. Why the bulldog didn't chase him down, I'm not sure. He went in to finish off the IS-3. FV-207 is, he'll be down here soon. There goes the IS-3, and that leaves the bulldog, who's coming back. He wants to finish something off. Oh, it's a T-32 from across the way. Okay. Alright, I didn't see that. Nona falls back behind the bush. Waiting for the Bulldog. Maybe the T20 Prototype. I believe the Centurion 5-1. Well, it looks like he fell back. Nona's looking around. His team is pushing in on the cap, which is good. Here comes the Bulldog. And he fires a shot into him. That low profile makes it hard for that Bulldog to hit him. Nona's obviously going to finish him off. Bulldog's not going to, especially a damaged Bulldog, is not going to fare well against a fully loaded GSOR. Nona's on the reload again. Why those guys haven't pushed into the FV207? I mean, obviously they've fallen back to protect their base, which is allowing Nona to push up. They're driving into some camped vehicles. Nona's loaded and ready to go. So you can see where this reload is just, it just takes you out of the battle for 40 seconds a pop. So you've got to constantly be thinking about, where can you go? What can I do? Where can I get those shots? Where can I be the most, effective for my team? And do I have a route, a plan to escape if I need to? Nona catches a T-28 just sitting there, not really sure what he was doing, but he managed to dump a couple shots into him. Be nice if the FV207 could maybe drop an arty shell. Nona's falling back. Get a shot into them, okay? He does. There's one. And there's two, and he's down. All right. Mr. T-28 wasn't that good of a player, I don't think. Oh, coming in behind you. Oh, there's a Centurion 5-1. He rams Nona, but he takes the most of the damage. And the reload. Well, I mean, he got, 5,075 in damage. I mean, you can see first class, high caliber, 318,146 in credits, 2,266 in damage. Did 5,075 in damage. Got 2 kills for base XP of 886, right? He fired 22 shots. All right, of those 20 hit, and of those 16 penetrated. So in that whole time, I mean, and he got some good damage. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, but 22 shots. That reload just coming in and making its presence known. He died 9 minutes into the game. All right, and then so 22 shots in 9 minutes, and I mean, when he had rounds, he was shooting most of the time. So let's see what the second video shows us. In this game, we find ourselves on Sand River in another pure tier 8 game, standard battle, and Nona has spawned over on the west side and looks to be headed over here to the road. So Nona, take it away. As you can see, he's still got a 41.14 reload, so he's getting a little faster reload out of this. Barask is just taking off. I'm not sure what Nona is running for equipment. On mine, I am running the vents. I believe. We'll double check that. Scratch that. We'll look at that in a little bit. All right, so he's moving in. We got a Samoa over here. Following the Centurion 1, there's a Basante and the Barask. So not a lot of beef to support Nona if he needed the support. GSOR over there along with the Samoa. Aims in on the puts a nice shot on the GSOR. Puts another nice shot on the GSOR. Takes one from him. And fires an extra shot at the Samoa. Barask is taking hits. The Basante is down to less than 50%. And Nona realizes very quickly that he needs to get out of here. Alright, he lost his Centurion 1. The Basante is down, is being punished, and the Barask is being punished. Just too much beef over here, and he's got to get out of here. He makes a smart decision because, as you can tell, the massive speed of 46 kilometers is just not best in the world. There he's hurt a little bit with his gun elevation. RV trying to come up over the hill. Barask is charging in on the T69. It's probably not going to work out well for him. Puts a nice shot on the STRV and finishes his game. Puts another one onto the Suma. Pulls up over the hill where you need to get some shots out. Another shot into the Suma. And he's down. Alright, so, I mean, picking up the near deads on this thing because of the burst potential, I mean, it works out very well. The painful part of that is, again, he's on a reload. Is a standoff TD, you know, it works very well. Got the view range. The accuracy of the gun is fairly decent. So, sometimes the penetration tends to let you down. Nona makes a wise decision. He pulls back towards base. His team is slowly being picked apart, and it's leaving just a bunch of TDs. I'm going to get up in a bush here. Puts a shot into that Barask and manages to help take him down. Now the flanks are left open. There's a, what is that, the LHMTV? No, Lore 40. And he puts a shot into him. Puts another shot and he's down. That gets him spotted. And oh, bounces a shot from the GSOR. There's Artie. Time to get out of dodge. Again, we're on the long reload, so we gotta go gotta fall back and wait for the reload. TRV is able to put the T69 in a bad situation, and he's taken out. Defender's falling back. Spotted. 26E4 over here. Alright, we're going to creep up over here and see if he can, and again, using the gun depression, the ability to creep up without exposing a bunch of his tank, his TD, and get into a situation where he can maybe do some spotting, get a couple of nice shots off. Not seeing anything, decides the better thing to do is get out of here. So unlike, say, a French medium or French autoloading light, the tank doesn't have the maneuverability to pop in, check it out. If it doesn't work, then fly back out. I think had it been given a little bit more speed, it would be played a lot more like probably an autoloading medium. Because of the lack of speed, I mean, even the Scorpion G's got more get up and go than this thing. You know, you have to be very cautious about what you're doing. In the hands of a good player, the GSOR can do some amazing things. I've seen players just tear tanks up with these things. I've been on the receiving end of it too, and it's not fun. Definitely makes you have to play with a lot of situational awareness as to what's going on around you. Spots the Ferdinand over there. Somebody took a huge chunk out of him. Oh, there goes that 2064 trundling across the middle. Tracking shot, that was lucky, and then he was able to put him out. Again, because of the burst potential. The ability, 2-second interclip reload. Nice shot into the rocks, though, there, buddy. Line shot in there. Alright, so Nona's going to go back around, see if he can't get down on this other side and maybe get him in a little flanking maneuver here. Still firing the AP. Beat it up here a little bit. It's going to come all the way around over here. Now this is a dangerous situation in this TD because if he's caught out with the reload, he's going to be in a hard situation. There's a GSOR. Puts a nice shot on him, even though he really didn't have to let the gun aim in. That was some RNG on your behalf. Alright, so that's one. At this point, I think it may have been advantageous to do a full reload. No, I'm not sure. Again, it's a 40-second reload. You're in a bad situation because you are isolated. You're all by yourself. What you don't want is two GSORs coming at you. They've already moved in on your map and taken out everybody over there on your cap. And I think, yeah, you could have gotten a full reload. Not knowing what you were going to run into, I fully understand why you didn't. You had to be careful. One takes a shot from GSOR, puts, and that's it. But you got a bruiser, fighter, fire for effect, 153,466 in credits, 3,088 in damage, or in experience. You did 3,072 in damage, 5 kills for base XP of 659. 19 shots were fired out of that one, and 14 hit, 13 penetrated, 896 from 300 meters out. And in that game, you managed to play for 10 minutes and 20 seconds before you were destroyed. And got a total of 19 shots out. So there was a little bit of time in there where you were looking for shots, obviously falling back to your base and stuff like that. So let's go back and finish up in the garage. All right. So my final thoughts, as I was stating earlier, my equipment is vents. What we got? Improved aiming, and I'm running the low noise, and I'm still getting 425 in my view range. And camo-wise, 26 sitting still and 19 moving. The GSOR 1008, I think, it's a fun TD for a player that might want to play a little more cautious, as I find myself doing a lot of times. Playing a little bit more cautious, not getting right into the mix of the battle. First thing you figure out, simply due to the reload, is that you've got to play second to third line. If you can get a nice bush in a hill somewhere and allow the enemy to drive across in front of you, or where you can use your range and your accuracy, this TD will do just fine. If you're looking for a TD that's going to push in there and throw its burst and then be able to get out of there, not going to happen, and not in this TD. Just doesn't have the speed to get out of there right away. So you can't get yourself in a position where you've got to turn around and run for 40 some seconds, or 30. I think Nona's gotten it down to a 30. I did a Ace Tanker game for him, and he's got it down to like a 30 some second reload. But it is still not going to be the one that's going to charge in there. It doesn't have the reload of say, the Scorpion G, where you're reloading another shell in X amount of seconds, and you're able to put a lot of damage downrange. You're going to get the burst, you're going to turn and run, and then you're going to hide for 40 seconds, and you're going to be able to go again. So it's a lot like playing, say, the Lorraine 40, except that the Lorraine 40 has the speed to get out of Dodge. But all in all, like I said, I'm enjoying it. I'm finding it. It teaches you patience. That's one thing I have found, is it is teaching me patience, and allows me to play areas of the map where I can look for a hold down environment, where I can do some hill, come up over the hill and put some shots in. So for a new player, this will be a tough TD because of the reload. For a player, unlike myself, 20-some thousand, less games in there, if you can manage the reload, you're probably gonna find that you might enjoy it and get some good damage out of it. I picked those games because Nona got some good damage, was able to showcase the abilities of the TD, long range support. Just outside the view range of a lot of tanks and still inside his draw range. That's what this TD works for. If you're an aggressive, get into the fight, stay in the mix type of player, this is not the TD for you. So anyway, that's my review of the GSOR 1008. It's a fun TD. I'm sure there are a lot of detractors out there, just like there are a lot of proponents. But, take it for what it's worth. That's my humble opinion. And we'll catch you later. This is Bonsai Duck out.